Greetings. I'm Gayle Browne. I'm the pastor of St. Luke's Episcopal Church in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I bring this message to you today from my home instead of from the pulpit at St. Luke's. In fact, I'm bringing it to you from my camper because as our family shelters down, it's quieter out here in the camper, which is sitting in my driveway. The psalm appointed for the fourth Sunday of Lent is Psalm 23, one of my favorite psalms. And so I'd like to start by reading that psalm. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not be in want. He makes me lie down in green pastures and leads me beside still waters. He revives my soul and guides me along right pathways for his name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You spread a table before me in the presence of those who trouble me. You have anointed my head with oil, and my cup is running over. Surely your goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Surely your goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. For me, that has been true. Not only that God's goodness and mercy have followed me all the days of my life, but also that this psalm has seemed to follow me all the days of my life. My earliest memory of this psalm goes back to my childhood. As a little girl sitting on my grandmother's lap, she would recite this psalm to me. And I'm not sure that she recited it at times when I was feeling troubled, or at times when she was feeling troubled, or maybe just because she wanted me to hear the words and images of the psalm. Whatever the reason was, it worked. And those images of Psalm 23 have stuck with me and followed me all my life, especially in times when I have needed them most. I have also found this to be true of many people with whom and for whom I have ministered, especially at times of crisis in their own lives. They have told me that this psalm is one that they recite or read over and over and over again because it comforts them. It gives them hope. It may seem odd in this 21st century that the image of a shepherd leading sheep would still be an image with which we can connect. We very rarely see shepherds and sheep. They're not a part of our day-to-day experience. But what does connect are the same images that are there for the shepherd. Images of places where the shepherd finds the sheep in trouble. Images of a place of want, of yearning for some situation to be resolved. Places of shadows where it feels like the circumstances of the day just might overcome us. Feelings of fear where our anxieties about the future threaten to do us in. Yes, these are all places that we experience throughout our lives. They're places that we are places in which we find ourselves right now today in the midst of this coronavirus pandemic. We are in places of deep want and yearning for something different. We are in places of feeling overshadowed. We are in places of fear. And the hope and the good news and the comfort of Psalm 23 is that when we find ourselves in those places, the Good Shepherd, the Lord who is the Good Shepherd, stands right there with us. But that's not the only hope expressed in the words and images of this psalm. There is an additional hope, because the Lord who is the Good Shepherd does not just stand with us, but this shepherd moves us forward, moves us out of the want and into pastures where our wants will be fed, moves us out of the shadows into still waters where our souls can be refreshed, moves us out of the fears on pathways that take us from darkness to light. I could think back I can think back over the last several weeks of many, many examples of the ways that I have been led to pastures that feed me by things that people have shared with me, stories, performances on the internet, phone calls, many, many images of ways that I have been led to still water. Sometimes as simply by sitting out in my backyard and just being still. Many images of ways that I have seen people follow pathways from darkness to light, such as the stories that we've heard about the people in Italy, a place where this virus has hit incredibly hard. And yet we've probably all seen the pictures of people standing on their rooftops and on their balconies, listened to recordings of them as they sang out with all their hearts, accompanied by instruments sometimes that simply were pots and pans, and other times were more refined, like a violin. We've seen those stories of people who found a pathway out of their wants and shadows and fears, and into pastures and still waters and pathways to light. And yet, even seeing all of these, what I know to be true is that at the time I have needed this psalm the most, it's often been hard to see those images as a reality. And yet still, even at those times when I can't see the pathways or the still waters or the green pastures, still this psalm speaks of hope, because it speaks of truth. The truth that the Lord, who is our shepherd, will always stand with us. The Lord, who is our shepherd, will always move us forward to where we need to be. So in the weeks ahead, may we all open our eyes to see where the Lord is leading us. May we all open our ears to hear where the shepherd is calling us. May we all open our minds to think in new ways about how we can reach out to each other. And most of all, may we all open our hearts to love ourselves, to love each other, and to love the shepherd who leads us. Blessings to all for the week to come.